Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the third day, the third dawn of darkness. I believe today, at least from where I'm at geographically, is the third day of darkness, and the pole flip, the alignment with the earth changes and the magnetic north versus geographical north, et cetera, et cetera. And so I must say that things are cyclical. And the more a person acclimates themselves to the process of letting the ego fall away, letting the illusions of the ego dissipate, rather, you don't identify with the ego world, and the more that subsides and infinite intelligence from the cosmic source of all creation, the more that is allowed into your awareness, or what you pay attention to. Yes, our minds are a tool, and so what we focus on, what we give our energy to, is what becomes our reality. That's a mental law of nature, immutable. It just is what it is. It's how things work. God and his laws, her laws, sources beyond gender specification. As you fall away from the ego world, things like he, she, him, her, these ego designations aren't no longer as important as they were in your ego world. So things are cyclical. I must say that my 3 days of darkness last year around this time, they were rough, relatively speaking, they were rough here in Texas, in this area, for a lot of people. A lot of people, they didn't know how to cope with that severity. But speaking for myself, because I have undergone massive changes, in the cyclical nature of evolution, coming back to source, learning to let my ego, the illusions fall away, identify with source. The more you align with source, cosmic intelligence, cosmic creation, the smoother things, will be for your life. So because I have, intentionally, focused, and I've had massive help from the universe, for sure. My angels, our angels, the light forces, they're there, they exist, and I'm thankful, incredibly thankful for that. And like, as people have said, without love, where would you be now? And certainly without love, none of us would be doing quite as well. So our Creator loves us. And in service of our Creator, I want to share a new project. I'm going to read a chapter from a wonderful book called The Council of Seven Lights by George Van Tassel. And so that being said, when I read this information, it's also a way for me to learn this information by sharing it, and particularly by, verbally, and, I can read the document, the book, and it kind of goes at one level. It's the same as when you write something down, like, rather than type it. But you're engaging more of your human physical processes. So by the same token, by the same dynamic. By me sharing this information, I'm learning it as well. It's consolidating, it's permeating, it's doing what it's supposed to do through the mechanisms of the ego, the awareness that we all have. So, without further ado, I want to try to read the intro to this work and get started. It's called "The Council of Seven Lights" by George Van Tassel. I believe it was written in the 50s or so. 1958. Ministry of Universal Wisdom, I believe, was his entity. So we're going to go over this. There's some of the chapter headings, and there's a lot of information. I want to share it to it's important information. So, parapsychology, introduction. From the introduction to the Council of Seven Lights. Parapsychology has proven that the transmission and reception of thought is possible and a scientific fact. The information in this book is the result of a developed ability to awaken the nearly dormant consciousness to thoughts existing throughout time. Nothing can be thought that has not been thought of before. The principle of radio, television, electricity, flying, and of all modern things existed in the time of Plato and Columbus. All of the principles of everything that can ever be already exist in the infinity of universal mind. The ability to penetrate mind requires practice. In practicing the act of awareness, I found that intelligence exists throughout the universe. My first contact with with the organized intelligences of other places revealed that the intelligence manifested on the earth is in the kindergarten stages. My penetration into the superconscious mind revealed an eternal record of infinite laws. Thinking is not something one does. Thinking is the act of becoming aware of what already exists. One does not try to think to become aware. One only has to remove his own thoughts, and then the universal mind rushes in to fill the void. The introduction of any new thought is usually accepted by those who understand its potentialities and rejected by those who do not comprehend its portent. This often leads to controversy, which is the needed stimulant that brings individuals to the use of their own thought power. This book is not written with the intention to present anything radically new to the reader. It is written to revive that which has become nearly dormant within his individual power of conception. One would be utterly foolish to try to explain a subject using scientific explanations to another who is not interested in or doesn't understand scientific terms. It would be equally unimpressive to appeal to one from the religious viewpoint if he were not interested in religion. My desire in presenting this book is to pass on that which makes sense to my reasoning faculties in the hope that others can gain something of lasting value from it. The materialism of the present society of the masses is evidence that even the most unreligious of individuals has a desire to worship something. So he worships matter. The materialists think they are the more advanced people in an otherwise scientifically ignorant society. The most devout religionists lean the other way and believe their heavenly point of view is the correct way. Actually, both are wrong, and both are right from a neutral point of view. I'm attempting to present this book from the middle viewpoint. If it appears that I am leaning one way or the other, the reader may take into account that perhaps he is basing his opinion on his or her own tendency to lean one way or the other. Now, the best way to really understand anything is to examine your own opinion from the opposite point of view. This book is an attempt to present to science and religion the fact that each are integral parts of the other, and both are the same one from opposite concepts. A wall is a wall regardless of from which side one looks at it. On one side of this wall is written the history and achievements of science, and on the other side one can read the records of the various religions. There is only the one principle of creation, but there are many roads to finding this grand principle. Religion presents its many roads to the people, each sect presenting its approach as the only one, with the fanatic condemnation of all other religious roads. The many divisions of science each profess their findings as the eternal verities. Religion presents God as the infinite being, and science presents the manifestations of God which have been recorded with the five senses. In the unthinkable vastness of the infinite universe, the earth is only a tiny speck of matter, inhabited by parasites called humans. The people depend upon the earth for their sustenance, the same as any parasite depends upon its host for life. Religion is the art of living now. A true religionist knows how to live without infringing upon the rightful living of others. The professors of religion propound spirit as something you become after your death. Actually, the spirit of you is here now, and your God is determined by the way you live in the flesh body, so as to manifest spirit now here on earth. The consciousness of every individual contains all of the records of every act and personality that the individual has ever done or been. To admit that many of the thoughts I received were given by other identities would be true. Yet the further truth is that I have been all of these other identities. Reincarnation is a misnomer. All that one has ever been or will ever be, he is now. Everyone has always existed since the creation. Whether one accepts the limits of one's lifespan here on the earth or this life and hereafter, somewhere else is of no concern. One cannot honestly believe in a hereafter without believing in a before. This schoolroom on earth is only a brief experience in eternal life. One must first understand himself, then he may understand his fellow man. If this is accomplished, then one is at the doorway of understanding God. The Council of Seven Lights continued, "O man, you have made laws to avoid using my laws. Confusion, chaos, and war are the results of man's ideas, opinion, and assumption. Light alone is the essence of truth. Truth alone is the essence of wisdom. Wisdom is the essence of knowledge. Knowledge is the essence of light. Only through knowledge can man express wisdom in action. I have given man life that he might demonstrate my knowledge through action and wisdom. I extend the concentration of my light to those who are demonstrating my laws. O man, in living my life and breathing my breath, establish within yourself the solidarity, the contentment, the bliss of living rightly, that I may know, that I may feel the glorious pulsation of the being of you. In speaking my words, let them ring clear, let them be dear and near to you, that others may understand. Realize I am not the expression of self. I am only the boundless, unselfish utterances of the heart and the soul that sees me in others. None can bring about the workings of my laws unless first they have established their right within my light. Reach not for golden prizes of desire, for they shall reflect the light. Look not into the mirrors of space, for eyes that are blind to me. For eyes that see are blind to me. And though the prize be golden, my light does not reflect. Express the being of me in life, extend me in the action, that I may feel the thrill of doing for another whose need is great, that I may know success in manifesting you to bring about the me in others, that their eyes may see through thee to me, not reflection, not illusion, but the purity, the reality I have instilled within the you of me. That was beautiful. Wow. So that was the introduction. And I'm going to try to keep these videos short. Chapter, read a chapter. That was the introduction, and with my little intro to the intro. Anyway, I hope everyone's surviving nicely, and I hope everyone is letting their ego illusions fall by the wayside and embrace cosmic infinite intelligence. Namaste.